Hello, everyone. Today's podcast is brought to you by the fine folks at AN Performance. High quality supplements for all your athletic and performance needs, as well as Paw Power Nutrition. Great supplements for your dog. You care enough about yourself. Why not give your dog some love as well? And lastly, Wileys Finest. High quality, premium fish oil supplements, as well as really good health products for eyes, some other things. This is their Relax and Focus, brand new product that I'm using. Kind of brings you down after a long, stressful day. Check them out. I'll have all their links in the comments below. Enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. If you are a fan of the supplement industry, these gentlemen need no introduction, but of course, I owe it to them. The first gentleman, he's probably sixth or seventh time on the podcast. He is my training partner from time to time, Mr. Eric Schwartz of Paw Power Nutrition. Coming back, I believe it's his fourth time on the show, Mr. Spencer Lynn of AN Performance. And long overdue, the newbie making his second appearance. So glad to be making this happen, Mr. Brandon Baulo of Wileys Finest. Gentlemen, so glad to see you guys. It's been a while.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Sean. It's always a good time, man. Always a good time.
So I guess we'll just start off with an easy lob here. We're about 6-7 weeks past the Arnold Classic. Eric, you emceed the booth once again the cage. I shouldn't say the booth, but what were your thoughts? We'll kind of go around the room a little bit.
For me, it was awesome. I hadn't been to the Arnold in 5 years. 2019 was the last time that I was at the Arnold. So it was an honor. It was the 20th cage, so it was an honor for them to ask me to come help. I loved doing it. Brought back a ton of emotions, but the thing for me, it was so much more fun because this time my only duty was there to MC, where in the past I was kind of responsible for the cage and everything going smoothly. And there's a lot of stress that goes along with that. You know, they spend a lot of money on it. The higher ups in the company, you know, the owner wants to see it do well. So I didn't have any of that stress, right? I just got to really enjoy the lifting events and really get into it. And it was so much fun.
What do you feel? Do you feel it was rocking as normal? Like even more energy? Well, obviously 5 years, quite a big difference, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like the Saturday during the main events at the cage, it was pretty wild. Like it felt like it was just as busy as the old days.
And Brandon, this is the first year you guys didn't have a table or a booth, did you? You were a spectator this year, right?
Yeah. So this year, we usually have a booth, but it fell on the heels of Expo West. And so we're putting all our energy into Expo West. So to have the show back to back, I got to attend it as a spectator for my first time since 2019. Because last 3 years, I was a booth. And I tell you what, I haven't seen a crowd that big at the Arnold probably since like 2015, 2016. The booths that were in attendance that were there, the giveaways, just the product in general. I was surprised. GNC had a booth there, right? When was the last time you saw any of the stores, like a GNC Vitamin Shop, have a booth presence at the show? So it's definitely a lot of energy. I know the last couple of years they said, "Oh, it's going to be back, No, I felt like it was back this past year.
Did you feel kind of a relief a little bit that you could actually walk around as a spectator and not be like ambassador, employee of Wileys?
It was nice because I was able to actually go to the people and see, I got to see Spencer, I got to see Jay and Eric at the Animal. I got to see a couple of my retailers who also double duty with booths. So it was nice to be able to go and see them on their time instead of trying to wave them in or catch people off guard. So it was a relief and a chance for me to explore, see what's new, what people are doing and bring some of that, energy and information back to Wileys.
And Spencer, was this the first time you were manning a booth, or have you done it in the past with other brands?
Yeah, actually, this was the first time I was actually working a booth at the Arnold, and it was. I mean, I like what those guys say. I think it was huge. I think they announced that it was the biggest attended Arnold of all time in terms of the expo.
Wow.
Just how many people were actually there. So it was a really cool experience. And we had Applied Nutrition. We had our split booth, right? So we had half the booth was ABE, the other half the booth was AM Performance. And it worked out really well for us. And it was cool. Our booth was literally right next to the cage. So I got to see Eric plenty.
Yes.
Brandon came by and talked to me for a little bit as well. So it was great to see both those guys there. And it was just, high energy all weekend, tons and tons and tons of people, tons of samples handed out, customers talked to. I was starting to lose my voice about halfway through day 2. And then by the end of the weekend, I had literally had no voice left. But it was cool to see Eric doing his thing at the cage. They kind of had that double-decker VIP booth with basically a balcony upstairs. So he was up there on the mic and in the cage on the mic. It was cool, and I can confirm the place was rocking all weekend because all of the heavy.
Spencer kept me going. Spencer kept me going with Tang flavored energy drinks.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, it was a really cool. It was awesome, and I think we're already talking about how excited we are to be back again next year.
Were you expecting it, or were you surprised? Like, what were your expectations going in, or how do you set up that?
Yeah, we were expecting it to be pretty crazy, and I think it still surpassed our expectations. I mean, kind of nothing compared to the cage, but we had a little I don't know. We went out and bought like a $200 dip bar, pull up bar tower, rinky dink tower machine, and we put it in our booth, and we did dip contests all weekend, and we had a line wrapped around our booth all weekend just for people to hop up on it and do dips. And if they did X amount of dips, we'd give them a free pre-workout, and the line was packed the whole weekend. It was crazy. We had a guy.
You guys were very busy every time I walked by, which is great.
Yeah.
So it sounds like maybe there's a good feed, a good carryover from each one of your booths since you were back to back. Probably people on both sides going back and forth.
And
good feedback.
And it worked out. Yeah, it worked out too because we had a big display of all of our athletes on the back side of our booth, and it was kind of in the background for a lot of the content that Animal captured. And I've already seen that the videos that you guys have released on YouTube about the cage, and you can see our logo plain as day in the background. So it just kind of worked out as like some sneaky guerrilla marketing. We'll take it.
Yeah, no, great placement.
Yeah.
So Spencer, since we'll put a spotlight on you here because you guys, AN Performance, have doing some great things as of late. I know you're signing athletes, like surprising people with some of these athletes that you've signed. And then obviously your new protein, the banana protein collaboration.
Yeah.
And then also, and I know you guys are announcing it, but I got to give you guys kudos that your protein is fully transparent. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, we were. That was a big thing that we wanted to do. We wanted to be, again, like you said, fully transparent on the protein. It's our hybrid protein, so it's a blend of 50% whey protein isolate, 25% whey protein concentrate, and 25% milk protein isolate. And we disclose that on the back in a nice big pie chart that's easy for the customer to see. We're proud to be transparent. We want the customers to know, what they're paying for and what they're getting. So we were glad to do that. And you mentioned some of the other things we have going on with the Chiquita collaboration for our Chiquita banana peanut butter, Chiquita banana chocolate protein powders, then a Chiquita pineapple strawberry hydration pre and zero caffeine pre. And then tomorrow, as this airs, will be April 24th. Is tomorrow we're dropping our Tang Orange ABE Energy collaboration. So got a lot of stuff going on over here, and it's been fun to be a part of it. And Eric, you've had the Tang Orange. I dropped you one off at the Arnold, so you could try it.
Delicious. Yeah, it was authentic. It was delicious. It brought back memories. Yeah, good stuff.
I was gonna say, is that one of the branding is to try to bring back the nostalgia for the old folk like us back in the days where slamming a Tang drink?
Yeah, a little bit of nostalgia with that one for sure.
I mean,
just leaning in heavily to the collaborations because that drives a lot of eyeballs and attention to brands. So it's no secret that that's our strategy is leaning in with that Chiquita collaboration. I mean, Chiquita is a globally recognized food company that's getting us a lot of attention. That product right now, those products, the Chiquita collab products are exclusive at the Vitamin Shop right now, but we have some other things coming to some other places with the Chiquita.
Hello, everybody. We are back with a little bit of technical glitch, but we are back to finish this wonderful podcast. Brandon, so what's going on with Wileys? Give us a quick update on what's new and exciting in your world. I know you just dropped a new kind of relaxation product, and what else is going on?
Yeah. So we had our big launch at Expo West. We launched, it's called Relax Focus. It's the first time we've gone outside of the omega-3 realm, right? So how we have our brand set up now, we have the 3 pillars, right? We have our wild Alaskan fish oil, which is all of our MSC certified wild Alaskan fish oil products. We have our plant powered nutrition, it's our vegan line, and we moved over to Nutriment Plus. And that houses like our specialty condition specific formulas, right? And so in that tier, it now allows us to play more into, expanding our portfolio. And so with that, we launched Relax Focus. the idea is to promote a product that helps reduce stress and anxiety and enhance cognitive function, right? The unique thing about the product is there's no melatonin, right? A lot of times you find those products on the market, they either have caffeine or melatonin in there. This has neither one. It's theanine, GABA, magnesium biglycinate, some taurine in there, and lemon balm, as well as B6. So really just to help, I like to call it relaxation without sedation, right? Can help you feel great, whether you take it in the morning, take it in the evening, take it at night. Whenever you're starting to feel the onset of like those stress anxiety markers kind of ticking in, you pop one and, you'll start to most people start to feel that calmness come down on them. So like I said, it's a new world for us and it's going really great. Got a lot of positive feedback. The buyers all love it. Our customers all love it. So excited to see what comes next, right? Where we going to go to from here.
Love it. I'm actually on one right now, which is probably why all the technical glitches today. I'm too relaxed.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, you've been with Wileys for 5 or so years, if I remember
thought that was a
correctly.
different kind of gummy you want.
So you've been with the company 5 years, obviously specifically in the fish oils. How have things changed in the fish oil landscape over the last 5 years? Has it been pretty much kind of the same, or what kind of changes, or have you seen any changes in that landscape?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we haven't seen too many changes, right? I think fish oil is one of those products. It's a commodity, right? And so people take it because they know it's good for them, right? And they're always going to take it. And us being the manufacturer of our own omega-3s kind of allows us to stay keep the price in check, keep the stock in check. I think with omega-3s, people are starting to, at least in my mind, I start seeing other companies start coming out with these basic lines, right? So to me, it feels like people are starting to go after more of the commodity market, which includes fish oil, which will eventually bring more eyes to fish oil in general, right? And so the more eyes we have on fish oil, better for me because we're already experts in the field. So we can try and capture, typically a younger demographic that a lot of these like sports nutrition brands is, Ghost is a great example, right? They just launched a Ghost Basic Omega-3. Younger kids start taking fish oil. As they get older, they start to, their taste and their shopping starts to, go up a level. Like their income goes up a little. Now they're in the Whole Foods, they're in the Sprouts. So now they're gathering the Wileys Finest. So that's what I see in terms of like what's changed. Just more players entering the market.
Got it.
That makes a lot of sense. You guys have a more premium position product too, with your glass bottles, your little bit nice textured labels. Obviously the quality of it speaks for itself. I mean, you guys need to get those customers to trade up, and I think over time they will.
Exactly.
Yeah, and for people that are watching this, I'll put in the description below the podcast I do with Brandon and one of his colleagues a few years ago. Again, they manufacture it in-house. It's a very interesting and unique process. And, if you want to learn about fish oils, I definitely suggest you're watching it. But talking about products in general, I guess when Eric and I started the supplement world many, many years ago, without aging ourselves, the actual graphics of a product were not as important as it was maybe the ingredient panels. So maybe, Eric, I'll start with you. At what point do you feel that the labels, I should say that the graphics became just as important, it feels like nowadays, as the actual ingredient panel?
Does that make sense? I can't date it, but I can't really put a date on it, but there's so many more competitors now that there was years ago. You have to stand out a certain way. And labeling and graphics are definitely a visual way to stand out from other brands, right? If that makes any sense. Yep.
What about you, Spencer? I know you've been using supplements for a little while, and AN Sups or AN Performance is very clean. There's no anything racy or bright and colorful. It's very clean. I mean, did you feel the shift?
Yeah,
throughout your years of supplements?
We specifically worked with an agency called Nutrimedia to help us with our labels to really make them stand out on shelf. And to Eric's point, that is the reason why. You walk into a GNC or a vitamin shop today, there are brands all over the place. There's so much competition out there. You need, before a customer even looks at your ingredient panel, your formula, you need to catch their eye before they even grab your product and turn it around to actually look at the formula. So the way you grab their eye is with really investing a lot of time and money and resources into making the product look good on shelf. There's a ton that goes into that. I mean, we have textured labels, we have holographic backgrounds in our labels. It really is to catch that customer's eye, and then we go even further to have soft touch lid with a little indentation on it, a raised logo in the center of our lid, because okay, we got the customer's attention. He walked over and he grabbed our product off the shelf. First thing he does when he grabs it is he's going to touch the top of that lid, and our lid is soft touch texture. So now, oh, that feels kind of nice. That feels just feels better, more satisfying in your hand than a generic plastic lid. So I mean, there's really so much that goes into engineering your product to stand out on shelf, and that's exactly why, is because there's so much competition out there.
Brandon, does the actual graphics or anything do anything for you when you're shopping in the store looking for your next supplement, or is it really flip it around and look at the panel regardless of what's on the front of the bottle, if that makes sense?
I mean, for me, it's, I'll look for names I recognize. The name of the product will kind of stand out, and then from there, I look at the ingredients. But I'm a different shopper, right? I know what I'm looking for. But for like Eric and Spencer saying, like, you take any Joe off the street and they're shopping, and a lot of times in these retail stores, there's nobody to help you, find the product you're looking for. A lot of times it's self-navigating, right? Yep. So you really need something to like stand out, to gravitate towards you, to make you pick it up, like Spencer says, off the shelf, to go for it. In our world, we redid our labels, not only to stand out, but to have what the product's actually doing is intended for, right? So we have for heart and joint, for general wellness, for relaxed focus, more of those structure function languages. So people who are self-navigating the store can look and say, okay, I know I need to take a fish oil for my heart. Let's see. Oh, this one says for heart and joints. I'm going to start here. And then from there, they can turn around and, decipher what the ingredients is for them. But then at the same time, too, the other thing, too, with labels is there's only so much real estate on there, right? And FTC and FDA, they all demand certain things that need on there. So once you get all the legality stuff off this side, what can you fit in there that makes it stand out, make it easy to read, and then make somebody gravitate towards it, whether it's, a specific condition they're looking for or a flashy label.
Got it. No, I appreciate that. Go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say, I think that's very smart, Brandon, that you guys put the benefit on the front of the label. I think that's real smart.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, that's what the customer wants, right? They don't really want the ingredient. They want the benefit of what that ingredient's going to do.
Yeah, but I think that opens a little bit of a slippery slope, too, with some companies with deception. And I think that's the problem with the industry sometimes.
Well, that's a whole other conversation, but yeah, we can do a whole podcast on that.
So, all right, so let's talk about that for a minute. Do influencers, social media in general, help or hurt sometimes consumer trust in supplements? I mean, Eric, you're a reviewer. I got out of the space because I just couldn't compete, and I didn't think I was a good reviewer. But is there more good than bad on the reviewer side?
I would say overall it's a net positive. Of course, there's some bad actors out there too, but if you're a savvy enough consumer, you can tell when somebody's being phony, after a while, or when someone's being authentic and sincere.
Spencer, do you feel that? Oh, I just lost my train of thought here. Do you feel that today's industry is well informed, like becoming more well informed? Like there's more well informed than uninformed in general when it comes to supplements and whatnot.
I do think people are more well informed today than they were. We were talking about the bodybuilding.com forum days back in the day. I do think the average customer is more informed today than they were before. They have so much more access to information, and I know there can be some disinformation out there too. But I think, to Eric's point, I think most customers or most people that truly care about improving their health and wellness, like they'll do at least some research to figure out what they're going to be getting. And retailers like the Vitamin Shop, for example, they're health enthusiasts. The store employees, they are. I've been in 115 vitamin shops this year already. It's towards the end of April. I've been in 115 vitamin shops. I'm impressed with the level of education that the store employees have. A lot of great conversations, a lot of great questions that I answer when I go into those stores. They know what they're talking about. They know how to help their customers. And they're not just there to, get the quick, easy sell. They will take the time to ask them questions about the specific conditions that they're trying to address, what type of products that they're looking for, what they've experienced with in the past, what their goals are. And then they'll tailor a supplement regimen to that. So I think the access to information is so much greater than it used to be. And I do think the average customer takes advantage of that.
So I'll ask Brandon, and then I'll flip over to you, Spencer. do your companies provide literature and marketing research to give to the stores, or is it more when you folks really do your in-person kind of education?
Yeah, we have an entire marketing department dedicated to putting out flyers, infographics, coupons, any handouts to help educate the background of the brand, product specific, how to incorporate the products into life. We had a recipe card that we came up with on how to actually incorporate our liquids into like a smoothie or a side dish. So we provide the stores with as much marketing material as we could think of, and anything they request, we'll actually put it into a queue and create things for retailer specific, just to help with the brand awareness, brand sell through, anything we can to really engage their customers and teach the staff. Right, we'll do monthly trainings with the brokers to help them take information that they can go ahead and relay it to their stores when they're doing their visits.
Hey, same question for you, Spencer.
Yeah, similar to Brandon. I mean, Nick, who you've had on the podcast before, he's our director of marketing. He does a great job partnering. I'm thinking of the Vitamin Shop specifically. The Vitamin Shop, they have what's called their expert access videos. So they have background videos that every Vitamin Shop has an Apple iPad tablet right behind the counter, and on that tablet, Vitamin Shop headquarters pushes out videos and training sessions and PowerPoints and graphics and things like that. Nick, our director of marketing, works closely with the Vitamin Shop headquarters to push out the right information and product education that we need to get in front of those health enthusiasts. So that's one area where we're attacking them, and then the other area where we're attacking them is in person. That's part of why I've gone out and visited so many stores so far this year, and plenty more left to go. I'm going out and shaking hands and talking to them in person. So now they're getting it both digitally from their iPad, and they're getting it in person, face to face from me. So that's really kind of the education, training, just awareness play for us at the Vitamin Shop. And then GNC with our ABE line, we have custom merchandising kits that have little, the products, the benefits and the features for every product we have on GNC shelf that go in with POs. So they have little 5x7 placards that'll go on the shelf right next to the product. That way, not only does it show the customer the features and the benefits of the products, but then the store managers can also use that to educate themselves too. So we really awareness and education are the two big things that trying to push into stores.
And I know I commented on one of your LinkedIn posts about you're doing the 100 stores over a certain amount of time, and kudos to you, because as I mentioned, there's not a lot of brands, big or small, that are doing these. Like Eric knows, I shout his praises because almost every weekend, he's at some kind of event, a booth, a bazaar, something, with Pablo, one of his many dogs, out there shaking hands and educating. And Spencer, I know you do that very religiously, and Brandon, I know you do it on occasion too. But I think that's where companies don't get it. They figure, I'm going to send the product and it's going to speak for itself. But, kudos to you guys for getting out there and shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah, I think in today's digital first age, a lot of brands and people kind of do forget about, now this is a relationship game. And if you want your brand to have longevity, authenticity, and be able to relate to people on the ground in the stores, you need to physically send somebody into the stores to go talk about your brand and meet the people, the store managers that are ultimately responsible for directly selling your brand to the customer in that last mile, that last 100 yards, if you will. You need to go talk to those people and meet those people and educate those people and basically win hearts and minds on the ground, to steal a military phrase, win hearts and minds on the ground. That's kind of it's a lost art, I think.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. You guys are a great brand, but you also get lost in the sea of other protein powders and pre-workouts. And if there's Brandon, I mean, you're one of a couple of dozen maybe fish oils. Eric's kind of a little bit on his own because there's only one or two other companies, and we're not going to name drop. We know one of the big players out there. But again, Eric, you out there every weekend with either your wife, yourself, and doing what you do best.
I mean, it's kind of out of necessity because we're not a big company. We don't have a big marketing budget, so we kind of have to do it that way. But I actually really enjoy it. I do enjoy talking to people.
Is it you enjoy it or Pablo enjoys it, getting parted around in your backpack?
Pablo absolutely loves it. He's so social. He knows when I'm getting ready to leave. I don't know how he knows, but he knows.
I send that video to everybody from last year where Pablo's in your backpack and he's kind of just looking around your shoulder and you're kind of just meandering around whatever the event was. That's a video all the time.
He's the most social dog I've ever met. We have 4 dogs, but he's the only one I kind of take because I know he gets along with everybody. He's crazy social, man.
And there's Lindley right there coming into view there.
Come here, Mama. Come on.
So Brandon, we'll defer to you here on the next question. So when you look at the landscape of supplements, I think pre-workouts is probably safe to say still one of the categories that's leading the way. But what other categories are you seeing now that are growing that now or maybe will continue to grow over the next couple of years?
Yeah. So when I was out at Expo West, I got a chance to sit on one of the seminars, and Scott Dickers from Spins, he put on an excellent presentation and kind of talked about what's trending in the market, and you can kind of see it too. It's creatine's still up there, number one. Hydration is a big one that everyone's kind of gravitating towards, and then magnesium. Magnesium is still big. More and more people are taking it. More and more companies are promoting it. So I feel like those three are going to be the three that will continue to grow. And it's funny. And Scott was saying too is creatine. It's no longer everyone should take creatine. It's now everyone should be taking more creatine. So it's no longer the 5 grams is no longer the standard anymore. It's now up to 10 grams a day because of the cognition and stuff like that. So now it's like, okay, now maybe we'll start seeing brands, try and fit 10 grams into their pre-workout. And now you're going to have a scooper that's going to be, a coffee mug size just to, squeeze it in there because that's what everyone's trying to do for.
So, Eric, we're going to date ourselves back to the 90s when creatine first came out with Bill Phillips and EAS and everybody else. And I felt it's always been a staple, but I felt almost like over the last 2 years, there's been a huge resurgence. Like everyone's used it, but any ideas like what all of a sudden put it back to the top of the map again?
That I don't know. I just think it's social media. I just think it happens to just be people talking about it on social media, looking for that edge, and creatine is just such a known commodity that we know works, among the sea of lots of stuff and supplements. But I vividly remember when it first came out and first launched, and you're right, it was just one company. It was EAS. It was crazy expensive.
Yep.
And I was working this is a quick little creatine story. I'm working a job. I was working in a mall, and I bought the EAS creatine from a GNC, and I used to train at night. Right, phosphagen. I used to train at night, and it said take 20 grams, but split it 4 times a day, 5 grams each to load. I was so excited to take it, and I was going to train that I took all 20 grams. And we got to the gym, and we did one warm-up set, and I was in the bathroom on the toilet.
That's funny.
So lesson learned there. Don't take all 20 grams in one shot.
Lesson learned. Read the instructions entirely before you just start dosing. Go ahead, Spence.
Yeah. I think some of the rise in popularity of creatine, I think a large part of the rise in popularity of creatine is because it's evolved for its purpose in a way. I think for so long it was just, creatine will help you build muscle. It'll help you get stronger. Well, now there's so much data that says creatine will also help your cognition. It will also help you retain muscle as you age. It's good for elderly folks to take. There's data showing it's good for even infants to take a proportionate dose of creatine now. It's good and safe for infants to take it. So I think just with the continuing emergence of more research on creatine, you're seeing it beneficial in a wider variety of uses. Even as far as there's one study that referenced if you take, I think it was up to 20 grams of creatine after not having, slept well for a night, it can help your cognition the next day on an acute level. For so long, we've known creatine needed to be taken over time to saturate your muscle cells for it to have benefits. But now that there was a study that came out that said it could have acute, meaning immediate benefits in cases of sleep deprivation. So there's even more use cases for creatine that are being discovered, I don't know, yearly, it seems like. And I think that's part of the reason it's continuing to grow so much in popularity.
Spencer, I have to look it up after, but what were you reading about babies? Just overall brain formation, or what was kind of some of the, what do you remember?
There was so Dr. William Wallace is a good follow on Instagram. He puts out a ton of good information on creatine, little kind of just graphics. No, different guy. He puts out a ton of good information on all kinds of supplements and health and wellness related things. But he had one that came out on creatine that showed that even it's safe in infants, and it can help children grow to their full height potential as well. People that are deficient in creatine from a young age don't reach their full height potential. It was one of the studies that he had referenced in one of the graphics that he put out. So that's a really good follow on Instagram. And I've been reading up on that. And in full disclosure, I've been giving my son a proportionate amount of creatine every day since he's been born. I had my wife take creatine
Nice.
during her whole pregnancy. There's a lot of data out there that shows that creatine during pregnancy can help with the formation of the fetus's brain. So there's so much just continuing data to come out on creatine. I remember, 15 years ago, even longer ago than that now, but it was, creatine will make your hair fall out, creatine will give you acne, creatine will damage your kidneys, creatine will stunt your growth, all that stuff. And I wasn't allowed to take creatine as a kid, but now all the data has come out to show quite the opposite. So it's cool to see.
So I remember a little side story.
People.
Good, Dark.
Oh, I saw a couple in the dog space. I saw a couple of formulas put it in dog formulas. I haven't. Yeah. I'm not up on the latest research on it with dogs, but I am certainly going to look into it.
I would wonder. I mean, they're mammals, right? Like it can't be that different. They can't have that different of a physiology than us. So I would imagine that it could be beneficial for them too in a variety of ways.
So my wife doesn't watch this, and thank God she doesn't. But back in the 90s, we were both training for Eric. If you remember, the EAS had a contest, like a getting the best shape of your life contest for contract and stuff. Yeah. And so my wife was doing it, and she didn't know I was putting creatine in her shakes. Needless to say, like a week or 2 later, her weight went up like 9 pounds, and here she was trying to lose like 15. And that went over like a lead balloon, needless to say. But as soon as she got off of that, a couple of days later, it went back down. But anyway, it took a while to forgive me for that one. So Brandon, are you gonna get your little guy on creatine then? Have him start in the gym doing some benching with you, according to Spencer's theories here?
I'm gonna have to. I mean, this kid's already picking up things, twice his body weight now. So it's like a little, it's like a little bowl in a china cabinet back here, man. Kid's good, but yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. I gave my kid fish oil since he was born. I had my wife taking fish oil for all the cognitive function, and I don't want to sound biased, but I mean, I feel like I got the smartest 2-year-old I know in the neighborhood. So
you feed him the gummies, not the gummies, but the I guess they're not gummies, but whatever you guys have in the product line.
So I've been dosing down the liquid for it. Yeah, our high DHA liquid. Yeah, I want to make sure he was getting more of the DHA. I consulted with a dietitian to make sure my dosaging was point, and I didn't want it to be too oily for him. But yeah, I've been giving the high DHA liquid, and I noticed a difference. Right, I can tell the way he's picking up on things, his reaction time. I don't see a lot of children often, but the ones I do see, I feel like mine's up top tier.
Spencer, every time you're on the podcast, on mine, and you've been on Eric's as well, there's always a new feat of strength that you're looking at. Is there anything on the horizon that we should be keeping an eye out for, or?
No, my biggest focus right now outside of work is obviously just trying to be a dad. That is that's probably the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life, to be honest. But it's, and a couple years ago now, I tried for the most amount of weight deadlifted in 24 hours. And I got 2/3 of the way there, right? I was, 800, a little over 800,000 some pounds. I needed 1.2 million. So I got like 2/3 of the way there. So I'd be lying if I said that wasn't like still eating at the back of my mind. Like you could do it, like give that another try. So I'm not committed to it yet, but like someday I think I would like to try to maybe take a year or two and like train for that specifically for like a whole year and then give it another go, because I got 2/3 of the way there. I'm pretty sure with a different strategy and maybe sticking to my plan a little bit better, I think I could maybe do that. So I don't know. We'll see. Nothing planned though. No.
I love how most people want to be the best dad, the best father, the best husband, whatever, but you have those already, but now you got to at least 1 or 2 more things to put on your tombstone.
Well, I got like an hour or two every night after the rest of the house has gone to bed, and I got to figure out something to do with that hour or two every night. So I might as well deadlift in the basement for an hour straight and see what happens. I don't know. Do that enough times over the course of a year or two, and compounding effect of interest. I don't know.
You talking about offline? You finally finished your basement. Do you have your own little weights area there, or?
Oh yeah. The door right behind me is actually the gym. So that's nice little. That's the unfinished part. So we left a sizable portion unfinished, and that's where I have my power rack, my bar, my deadlift platform, all my weights, spin bike, that stuff. So yeah.
Love it. So Brandon, if you had unlimited financial resources, what product breakthrough idea would you love to put together for around the supplement industry or the health industry? Because you're more in the CBG health industry.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to be kind of in my back of my mind be a formulator, right? Because I always have there's ingredients that I've taken for the last 20 years that I love, and there's ingredients that I bring in. So if I had the perfect product, it would be a combination of maintaining muscle while burning fat. So it would combine, and actually I had to write it down because I don't want to miss anything. But I put HMB in there because I'm a big proponent of HMB again.
Okay.
Peptistrong. I am sold on the fava bean extract. I mean, I've been on it for months, and that thing is legit supplement. I will keep that in my regimen. Carnitine tartrate, acetyl L-carnitine. I'm big on both, cognition, and I love carnitine tartrate for the metabolism, the non-stim fat burner. Alpha-lipoic acid and grapeseed extract. Some of the best pumps I've ever had came from alpha-lipoic acid and grapeseed extract. So combine all that. Yeah. So combine all that together. I'm looking at be a weight loss product that also helps maintain muscle, but give you a nice pump. It could be stacked pre-workout, it could be stacked to the standalone, get your healthy blood flow. That's the product I would build. And I'd probably call it BC, right? Because I'm, Brandon, get the letter B, call it BC.
So HMB is a product too that was big in the 90s, and I feel it's fizzled out. And I can't tell if people just kind of brought it to light because there's new research, or they're just kind of something else to kind of throw back into the fray of supplements again.
I think it's always, like I said, I think it has great, backing. Alpha Lion just put it in their new pre-workout. Solgar launched an entire anti-aging product line, and HMB is in that product line as well. So I think people are realizing hey, there's a green up there with creatine that's been around a long time. Let's start bringing it back in the fold. It's what else, what else is known to put in, to stick into a pre-workout other than HMB and creatine that have, research.
Yeah, and I know Eric's on mute, but there was Betagen in EAS back in the day, which was like $99 for creatine and HMB together. But go ahead, Eric.
So yeah, it's definitely making a comeback. I don't recall the research, but what I remember about it is that I think what prohibited it was you had to take a very large amount, and it was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I remember from back in the day. If it's more cost effective now, then yeah, I think it's a good ingredient. But like I said, I haven't seen the research in years. I have to relook at it. But I definitely seen Eric? Multiple products coming out of it.
If you had unlimited resources, whether it be human or dog, what would you want to come out with?
Let's do human, since that's what we're really talking about. I would, if it was me, I would love a really kick-ass, all-in-one, super healthy meal replacement that also has multivitamin in it and all your essential nutrients. That's what I would want to do, but it'd probably be super expensive to do what I want to do.
Put it in packets, individual packets, or put it in one big tub?
I mean, that's a minor detail. I mean, the packets make it much more convenient. But I just think to do that, it's just it would be cost prohibitive. But that's what I would personally like to use.
What about you, Spencer? I don't know if you want to let any cats out of the bag of something's already in the AN line.
Yeah, this is not in our pipeline, but this would be what I would do. So the David bar, you guys are familiar with the David bar that just came out. I would take what they did with the EPG that's in there. It's a digestive resistant fat oil, and I would put that into a peanut butter cup format and try to make a really nice textured, high protein, low calorie peanut butter cup.
Okay. So have you tried the David bar?
I love them. Yeah, I've had all the flavors except the cinnamon one that is just coming out, but I've had all the other flavors, and I love them. The texture, the flavors are good enough for me, and then the macros are just insane. So combine all that together.
I haven't tried them. It brings me back to the old original Power Bar days. But I think, Eric, you were kind of indifferent, weren't you? If I remember correct.
Yeah. One, that label looks exactly like the old Power Bar label. I'm sure
the founder is Peter. The founder is Peter Rahal, who was the original founder of the RX bar. And I heard him on a podcast, and he said that he modeled the David bar after the original Power Bar, the Power Bar label on purpose. So.
Yeah. Me personally, I thought the macros are great. I did not love the flavors. They weren't terrible, but I expected more. It's expensive and it had a lot of hype. Again, it's very palatable. I can easily eat one and not complain. about it, but I expected it to taste better.
Brandon, have you tried them yet? I haven't, but have you?
Yeah. I grabbed some at my local barber shop. They're good. Like I said, I think they're easy to eat. I don't eat a lot of protein bars, but if I'm at the gas station or quick fix, I'd probably reach for it over some of the other ones that are out there.
I'd have to say,
the thing that makes it impressive to me is it's 150 calories for 28 grams of protein, and so the macros on it are outstanding. Especially if you're into bodybuilding and you're on like a contest prep or something, you got to keep calories low. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, again, I haven't had the chance. Good, Art.
I saw that EchoVision is trying to come out with a bar that seems like they're targeting the David bar because theirs is similar macros, but they have a big call out, no collagen in theirs.
Okay.
I'm a big Bear Bells guy.
So
I mean, when I have to have a treat, I love the Bear Bells.
Yeah.
Me too. Those are all good.
So, but as we wind down, guys, any questions for each other? I don't know if there was anything else that we wanted to discuss here. I mean, I know it's always good seeing you guys.
No, Eric, I think you do. I think you got to look into creatine for dogs and figure out if there's a way to formulate a product for yourself around that. Maybe like a creatine chewable tablet for dog, make it bacon flavored or something. I don't know. I think there's something there.
Definitely going to look into it. I think the big challenge with that would be educating dog parents about creatine. Yeah. I think it takes a lot of education, but I'm definitely going to look into the research.
It makes sense, right? You figure if a lot of dogs are or if they're like a raw meat diet, right? Meat has creatine in there, and you put a lot of creatine in kibble. So it's almost like unless you're feeding your dog raw meat, how else do they get their creatine? Might be something there.
Raw diet that's actually very popular now with dogs.
Interesting. So one question that I did have for Brandon and Eric, and again, I don't know if Spencer's a wrestling fan since we just got off WrestleMania and we've all been wrestling fans in the past. Brandon, top three wrestler physiques now or in the past? I always like to throw that out there for a goose.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go for past. I'm gonna go Rick Rude. I think he had the ultimate Chippendale very lean, very muscular look. And when you're talking about in the 80s, it's like you're on the road 300 some days a year to keep a physique like that. I think that's an impressive feat. Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. How do you not put Big Papa Pump in the equation in terms of just like his overall size and mass? And then Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby Lashley is another one, just all around, just freak athlete. Good size, good proportion. Someone you can easily see, put the work in and step on stage.
Bobby Lashley's like one of the people that's wrestled for the last 20 years, and his physique has not changed, which is kind of crazy. It's still the same size as day one.
Yeah, I met him in person. He's a big dude.
But I didn't think about Lashley. I would say Lashley. I was a Lex Luger guy. He was another one whose physique never really changed too much. And then, of course, Ultimate Warrior. I liked him over Hogan.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, as far as physique goes, I have Ultimate Warrior at the top. I also had Rick Rude and Big Papa Pump. I was a huge Hogan fan, so I don't think he had the best physique, but I did like his physique. I always liked that big, powerful, better than the cut-up guys. I don't know. That's just me. But I had a couple of others down here. Tony Atlas. This is going back a little bit further. Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson, who is The Rock's father. Both of those guys had incredible physique.
Here's a little useless info. Back in I think it was the late 70s or 80s, Tony Atlas competed against Ricky Steamboat in the North Carolina Championships or something.
Get out. That's wild.
Yeah. Spencer, are you a little bit a wrestling fan at all or no?
I'm not currently. I watched it back in the day, and I would have said Bobby Lashley for sure because I do remember being a fan of his physique when I was growing up into wrestling and his athleticism too. I remember he would do that one move where he would jump over people and then they'd go into the ropes and bounce back and then he'd throw him. My cool little call out with wrestling, if you guys remember Big Bully Busick.
The big old mustache, the bald guy with the mustache.
Yeah, he was tag team partners with the Iron Sheik. So one of my college football teammates, Bronco Busick, who actually has an MMA fight this coming weekend. So shout out to Bronco out here fighting in Pittsburgh. But Bronco is Big Bully's son. So the guy that played linebacker next to me in college was actually Big Bully's son. Big Bully's since passed, but Bronco is a friend of mine still to this day, and he has a big MMA fight coming up this weekend in Pittsburgh. So shout out to Bronco and his dad, Big Bully.
That's awesome.
The Iron Sheik is actually Bronco's godfather too, so that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So Brandon, why don't you Brandon, take us out, like what we see, what's coming up next for Wileys, whether it's events, trade shows, products, and we'll kind of go around the horn. And
yeah, so we'll be doing some tabletop shows around the country, do UNFI, the KE shows. We just launched a loyalty program, right? So you can start to earn every time you spend money, you earn points. Those points add up to great rewards on the program. So make sure if you are a fan of Wileys Finest that you go on there and sign up for the loyalty program. But yeah, just a lot of great things coming out of the pipeline. I think everyone will be excited. I think everyone in the industry will kind of start to say, "Oh, Wileys."
So Brandon, I know you have a new position. Are you still out on the road, or are you more home based now?
Yeah, so I am. I am the e-commerce sales manager. So I still have my sports nutrition accounts, and I still have a few independent retailers. But I pretty much manage our Amazon partnership. It's kind of my main day-to-day focus, making sure that that channel's running smoothly.
Gotcha. And Eric, any events, anything you're attending? People can go up and say hi to you, or?
Yeah, we have a lot of events lined up. Off the top of my head, they're not coming to me. May 10th. The next one I have is May 10th. Is a rescue event in South Jersey, down the Jersey Shore, called Rescue Palooza. But we're loading the calendar for the year to do a whole bunch of events.
Awesome. And Spencer, I know you're visiting vitamin shops, GNCs, and your face is everywhere. Kudos to you.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming. So tomorrow is our launch for our Tang Orange ABE energy drink collab. So please check that out if you get a chance. And then, in the first week of May, I'll be in Indianapolis, Indiana for the Collegiate Strength and Conditioning Coaches Association conference. We're having an exhibit booth there. And then towards the end of May, I'll be out in Bethlehem, PA at Guy Cisternino's gym, Muscle Inc., for their event that they're having. I think it's their 2-year anniversary out there at the end of May. So if you're around any of those places, you can catch me. And then, still plenty more vitamin shops left to go. I'm going to hit 5 when I'm in Indiana. Probably hit another 8 to 10 while I'm out in Eastern PA and Bethlehem, the Philadelphia area that weekend. So yeah, still plenty more. I hit my New Jersey days. I already swung through North New Jersey, but yeah, if I'm out that way in Philly and try to get to some of the Central and South Jersey locations, there's a ton of vitamin shops in New Jersey. Obviously, they're headquartered there. So yeah, there's still plenty of meat left on that bone of visiting the vitamin shops and talking about the AM Performance line.
And Spencer, one more time, the new Tang is dropping tomorrow. GNC, where else can possibly people pick it up?
It'll be in GNC franchises eventually, but if you want it tomorrow, go on Amazon or go to our website and find it.
Perfect. And guys, as always, it's great seeing you. Again, go ahead, Eric.
If you love orange, any kind of orange flavor, you'll love that Tang energy.
Yeah.
Love it, guys. Again, it's been a pleasure. I know it's been too long. This is therapy for me. We'll have to do it again. I know it's the end of the day, but again, I appreciate everything, guys. It's good seeing you. And Eric, I need to get out and have a training session with you very soon.
Let's do it, man.
Thank you, everybody. And I'll make sure that you have the previous episodes of all these gentlemen in the description below. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe them and the brands, and have a great night.